Hey, it's Benjie Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org, for more info, or you can email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Greg Van Arsdale. We'll be discussing his book, Beyond Mere Belief, Advanced Christianity for the Intelligent Mind, available at Amazon.com. Or if you guys want to get everything that Greg has to offer, do yourself a favor. Don't stop at Amazon.com. Of course, a number of his titles are on there, but go directly to his personal website, gregvanarsdale.com. There you'll find more information on Greg. He's an editor, so you'll find some information on that as well. But you'll also find a number of his other titles, one of which, of course, is Beyond Mere Belief, which we're going to focus on today. So one more time, that's gregvanarsdale.com. And I will say, Greg was brought to People of Distinction today by some of the best movers in the business. ReadersMagnet Publishing. If you have a book that you'd like moved, well, move it to ReadersMagnet. You can find them at ReadersMagnet.com. And guys, it is a pleasure to have Greg here on the line with us today because the book we're going to be discussing, Beyond Mere Belief, Advanced Christianity for the Intelligent Mind. Now, right off the bat, okay, we see the title. We have an idea of what it's going to revolve around, but I'm so excited to have him here because it's definitely a different concept, right? And listen, you guys know from tuning in and listening to me every week, we get a lot of authors that have religious books, or at least books that revolve around religious concepts that we usually have on our show. But I love having Greg here because really, we're going to take it a step further, okay? And what's amazing about his book is it's taking these religious concepts, but at the end of the day, it's one thing that we're taught in church. It's another thing actually delving deeper and really trying to decipher the meaning behind a lot of these messages here. And listen, Greg is the expert on the matter, so I'm going to go ahead and bring him on here to explain all of this because he'll be able to do it much better than I ever could. So without further ado, Greg, first and foremost, thank you so much for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction. How are you?
Oh, it's my pleasure for being here. Thank you. I'm doing fine.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, listen, the pleasure is all ours. Now, Greg, before we jump into the title itself, okay, let's hold off slightly. Let's build that temptation just a little bit more. Tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I started out as a physicist, and I went to college went to Stanford University on a physics scholarship, and I attended. Like I said, Stanford University, and then I was heavily recruited by the United States Navy to teach at their nuclear power school, to teach nuclear-related physics to officers. And I did that for a number of years, and I made lieutenant commander and got out and became training manager for a power company based out of West Palm Beach, Florida, called Florida Power and Light. And I did that for a number of years. But it always kept nagging back at me that I wasn't really completing my purpose in life. Yeah, I was doing some great things, but it wasn't my reason for being here on Earth. And that was the writing that we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. And so I quit Florida Power and Light and became an editor and writer, and I've been doing that since 2003 now.
Greg, really, all I can say is wow. Okay, let's take this piece by piece here. First and foremost, thank you very much for your service in the Navy. Secondly, man, listen, so you have a background in physics, served in the Navy for a number of years, started writing in 2003, and you've managed to complete at least 14 titles. I mean, it was about 18 altogether, but then with the revisions and things that way, 14 titles altogether. I mean, what an impressive resume. What an impressive background. Greg, you've been quite the busy little bee here.
Well, I try to be. Thank you.
That's fantastic, man. That it makes this interview all the more impressive. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, without further ado, let's jump right in. Beyond Mere Belief: Advanced Christianity for the Intelligent Mind. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, Beyond Mere Belief is designed to unchain us from the limitations of the just believe statement that's so prevalent in our churches today. Its corollary is, oh, you're not supposed to understand that. And when I was growing up, I asked those, these specific types of questions, and I was given those particular kind of answers, and it always kind of stuck in my craw. But Beyond Mere Belief answers theological questions in a brand new way. This uniqueness centers on scientific proof that there is a non-atomic form of energy in the human realm. And that I did before I wrote Beyond Mere Belief. It's called the dual energy concept. And it proves that there is another form of energy in the universe. And then I apply this concept to scripture to produce realistic, thought-provoking, and I'll admit sometimes controversial insights. So although there's always going to be a need for faith, this book is critical to resolving people's doubts, whether it be current Christians or people who are writing the fence and have doubts about it. So that's really what the book is about.
Now, let's go into the title. Okay, now, Beyond Mere Belief: Advanced Christianity for the Intelligent Mind. After hearing your description and learning a little bit about the book, I think it's safe to assume what significance that title holds and really what it means in, just the relevance to your novel. Now, of course, you know what happens when you assume, Greg, so I'm not going to do it. Tell our listening audience, how did you develop that particular title creatively and bring that into fruition?
Well, it goes back to the just believe statement. I go beyond belief that, demons believe that Jesus is the Christ, but that doesn't make them Christians. So people can believe. And a lot of times right now we have people believing without understanding. So I want to go beyond belief. I wanted to say beyond mere belief. That's where the title came from.
And what a great concept. Listen, my own personal reflections when it comes to religion, I've always viewed myself as someone that's more spiritual than religious. And my big thing, and I think it kind of similarly coincides with what you're saying in terms of when you go to church, you're always told to, as you stated, just believe, right? I mean, they're giving this message, and you're asked to just take the word and go with it. Don't question it. And I personally, of course, listen, we know we can view through history how religion has always been used to control and really take over countries and take over people's state of mind and things that way. So for me, that's why I've always been more spiritual than religious, right? I personally think religion is because it's a man-made construct used to dictate and control people's behavior. And I think that kind of coincides with what you're saying. And listen, guys, the messages are fantastic. The book is amazing, right? Study up on it, of course, but don't allow yourself to actually go deeper than that. Allow yourself to interpret the message and decipher it. Don't just believe, right? And I think that is a phenomenal message there that we can take from it. Now, next question, Greg, let's go into inspiration. Now, inspiration, of course, as you know, can take many forms. So, A, what inspired you to write this particular narrative? But B, listen, again, we've already stated, you come from an impressive background. What inspired you to embark upon a creative journey of this magnitude and write this many books?
As far as Beyond Mere Belief, that really spawned from the development of the dual energy concept, where I show that, I didn't show, it was proven in 1999 that 96% of our universe is of another form of energy. If you look up at the night sky, only 1% of all that you see, you only see 1% of reality. 96.4% is the other remaining 3% is guessed to be dust and stuff like this. But 96% is something else. So what is the true reality here? What we see and hear and touch and feel, or something unseen? And so the dual energy concept explains a lot of scientific things. They have their own concept of just belief. They call it quantum weirdness. And if they get to something that they're not able to explain, that's just quantum weirdness. Is the human mind can't grasp it. And I tackle that with the dual energy concept. But when I finished that, again, I was still nagged that it needed application.
Mm-hmm.
And the application came in the inspiration to apply it to Christian theology and say that, like you said, religion can be used as a tool and a weapon in many different cases. And I don't really focus on religion at all. I just focus on the aspects of Christianity. And so my inspiration was God directed. It was burning in my soul that I had to get this out.
Again, here on the line with Greg Van Arsdale, we're discussing his book, Beyond Mere Belief, Advanced Christianity for the Intelligent Mind, available at Amazon.com or at his personal website, GregVanArsdale.com. Now, Greg, what a great segue that you set up, really, because that last statement is really where I want to go. Okay, we know what inspired you and really what compelled you to look into this yourself, right? And to do the research and figure this all out for yourself. But why did you feel then compelled to put it in a book and put it out for other people to partake in also?
It's something that I just had to do. It was the purpose for me being here on Earth. I really believe that. And after writing this book, I'm at peace with knowing that, for my little part, I have done what I can to put a fingerprint on the earth and say, okay, this message did come out.
Greg, we talked about this briefly on the pre-screening call. The moment anybody will look into your book, right, and right off the bat, they see it, the subtitle of it, Advanced Christianity for the Intelligent Mind. As human beings are known to do, they'll start to formulate assumptions. Now, I want to give you the opportunity either A, to dispel the narrative, or B, to double down. Would you say, in your own words, that this is a book specifically geared for religious readers, or is this a book that can be shared and enjoyed by everyone?
It can be enjoyed by everyone. I have a lot of most of my responses, very enthusiastic responses, come from the millennials. These are the high school, college, the young 20 types that are still asking those questions. Why, how, and they are just eating this up. But I get a lot of acceptance from current Christians who use this advanced message to further their faith, reinforce it, make it stronger. So there are some people who are riding the fence, who are not committed Christians, but they're spiritual. And I say they can benefit from it as well.
Wonderful. Listen, Greg, as we tie up this fantastic book, because I do want to get to at least, listen, you have 14 titles in total, all right? So we wouldn't be able to get through all of them. But I do want to give you an opportunity to go into another one of your titles. So as we tie up Beyond Mere Belief, last question that I have is really just a curiosity for myself. While you were writing this book, what was a highlight for you? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you that you weren't expecting prior to embarking upon this journey?
The whole thing. The whole thing. It just, as I delved into it and say, okay, I finished the dual energy concept. Now let's just open the Bible and see what it really has to say. And when I apply these scientific concepts of another energy form, proof of it, that there is another realm, that the soul and the spirit are real and that they must be made of something, and that something, being a physicist, is that they are made of energy, only it's not atomic energy. And I go into the difference between the two, and that surprised me. But I go into sin and salvation. Is it real, or is it just a concept? Then I go to God is light. That is referred to many times in the Bible. God is light. But I found myself taking that literally, that every time that we see God, is that it's a light being. Mm-hmm. And it dawned on me that God is an energy being. He's not human. He's not black. He's not white. He's not anything. He probably can be more described as an it, because God he's beyond the dark energy. He's beyond atomic energy. But those are portions of God from which we are carved. And those kinds of things kind of like saying, wow, that got me.
Fantastic stuff. I mean, listen, so deep, so many different branches that this tree possesses that you can go down. This is fantastic. Guys, do yourself a favor. Head on over to Amazon or his website, gregvanarsdale.com, and pick up your copy of Beyond Mere Belief, Advanced Christianity for the Intelligent Mind. You surely will not be disappointed. Now, we closed out that one. Greg, I want to give you an opportunity. Again, as you stated, you have 14 other titles. We talked about Beyond Mere Belief in great detail. We went briefly into the dual energy concept, so we know a little bit about that one as well. Please, any one of your other titles that you'd love to showcase for our listening audience, we would definitely love to hear it.
I would say the Genesis Project, because that entails a little bit about what we just talked about. Not much. It's a science fiction book, a virtual world and a real world. But it's a saga. It's 4 parts long, but it's about John Newman, who has memory. It opens with John Newman, who has memory loss. And as he begins to regain his memory, people are searching for him, trying to kill him. He doesn't know why. As he regains his memory, he realizes that he's in a virtual world. And I relate that to us. You know, we're in the virtual world, and as I said, 96% of reality is something else. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of like portrays the true reality in a science fiction format. And then it goes on into corporate espionage and that kind of stuff, and fights and action. I like action in my books. And so the Genesis Project is something that I would love people to read.
Fantastic. Greg, this has been absolutely phenomenal. Guys, listen, what more can we say? It has something for everyone, okay? You know, the first 2 books that we discussed, Beyond Mere Belief, and then we went into the dual energy concept. Fantastic books, steeped in realistic circumstances, right? Dealing with realistic concepts. But then he also has a sci-fi fictional narrative. Really, that's a 4-part series that he just discussed, the Genesis Project. Guys, listen, do yourself a favor. rush on over to Amazon.com or his personal website, GregVanArsdale.com, and pick up every single one of these titles. We're spending a lot more time at home these days. What can be better than A, educating ourselves, and also, if we can't leave the confines of our house physically, taking the Genesis Project, or really all of these books, because it'll allow you to explore other worlds and really other realms. Leave the confines of your home mentally and spiritually. Greg Van Arsdale. Greg, this has been absolutely such a delight and such a pleasure. I truly appreciated you being with us today on People of Distinction.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed being here.